Bob. Okay, Robbie Reardick is his name in high school, and he is and after high school he decides to. He was bullied in high school. He transitions into Bob. Yes.
All right.
Excuse me one second.
I'm sorry.
Hey.
I'm so sorry. I'm
It's
so
been a
sorry.
long day,
Good. I'm so sorry. Good. It's good. I'm sorry.
No, it's
Go
all
ahead.
right. Go ahead.
Finish.
No. Okay.
Finish.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I play. Excuse the tone of my voice, but I'm coming off another project. I play Calvin Joyner, who is very much the coolest guy in the. That's I'm sorry. You should have kept doing it like it was. I'm sorry, that's distracting. I play Calvin Joyner, who Calvin Joyner is basically in the movie. I'm the guy who is the most popular kid. He's like, do you just want to do that? Want to take a chunk of it?
I'm done.
Okay, all right, okay, let's go. Calvin Joyner is the most popular kid in high school. Being the most popular kid in high school, what does that mean? Well, that means that, Me, I want to do everything, want to experience everything. Coming out of school, I'm expecting the world, expecting life to be mine in the palm of my hand. It's not. I have to be suppressed because I get a job. It's not really what I wanted to do, and I'm content. Why am I content? Because this is it. I'm in a cubicle every single day. Same thing. 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5. When I'm done, I look at myself and I go, damn it, I should have been more, and I'm not. Being I'm not more, I feel like I didn't achieve what I should, and it makes me depressed.
Okay, that was good.
That was
All right.
good.
It's good right there, right?
Great.
It's good.
So these roles that you're playing are a little different than we're used to seeing you in. So
Yes.
was it fun to kind of switch it up? And
So much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it was so much fun, and we wanted to work together. We got lucky. We had great chemistry. We got even luckier that chemistry transitioned onto the screen. But it was a lot of fun. Every day, by the way, was exactly what you're seeing.
You're looking at two guys that enjoy what they do.
Yeah.
We're silly. Yes, we are silly. But when it comes to getting the work done, we get the work done. We approach that day and give it 110%. And in this case, we knew that we had gold in the project of Central Intelligence. From the moment that we had our table read, from day one on the set, all the way down to day 45, 47, we were like, this can be good. This can be exactly what we want it to be. This is what we're looking for. This is why we both step into it. So as you start to see that unfold, you get more excited and more passionate about it. And now that we're here and we're promoting it, it's like, we're on the edges of our seats because we want the world to see it.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great film. Now, what do you think sets it apart from your typical buddy
Film
movie?
that's been done. DJ said something earlier that stood out to me, and it's kind of been in my head. We didn't go in the traditional direction of bumping heads, and he said normally, within the characters, there's a, hey man, you better. He's like, no, you better. It's like these guys that are always clashing. Whereas in this particular case, there was a guy who was just so genuine. With love and like for my character. Bob genuinely is just a supporter of the Jet and is a fan and
Hero
wants
worship.
that friend. Yeah, like he wants that friendship so bad. And my character's a little standoffish because it's coming off as so much. And after I get thrown in the situation, it's the guy who now has to make a decision based off of his personal judgment. I can't let any outside influences dictate how I feel about this guy. Which is when in school, that's how bullying happens. That's how people genuinely get put on the outer box of the in crowd to the out crowd because it's influencers. Oh man, I heard that person. Or I heard that this. I have to block all that out and make a decision based from my study of him. What I think he is and who I think he is. And it ends up being the right decision, and I think that's where the friendship ends up growing from, which is very unique and hasn't been done. So it separates us from the pack a little bit.
Yep. I also think, too, like, there's a great anchor of Hart in the movie.
No pun intended.
Yeah. No pun intended. But, there's a tremendous amount of heart that was very important to our director, Rawson Thurber. It was important to us because if we know we're going to come out in the summer. There's big movies, there's superhero movies, there's this kind of movie, that kind of movie, and we want to take a crack at what we have in our chemistry. Well, it has to be anchored in something, and that's Hart.
That's great.
No pun intended.
All right, I'd like to introduce the cast and filmmakers of Central Intelligence. Ike Barinholtz.
Hi guys. Hi everybody. Welcome.
Rawson Marshall Thurber, Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, and David Stassen.
Yes! He's my friend.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Dave. Hi. This is great. This is good. Hey. Hey, everybody. So many familiar faces.
All right.
Oh.
Great. Glad to have you all here. I'd like to
Big
start off
Central
with.
Intelligence press conference
Yeah.
right now happening.
I'm gonna do one too. It's gonna be great.
We'll do one.
It's gonna be great. Let's do one. Let's do one together right now. Are you ready? Let's go. Oh man, Central
We are
Intelligence.
Central
But wait till
Intelligence.
I'm done
Hold on a
mine.
second.
We know.
Hold on.
We're
This is my
here.
video.
Press conference
Hey,
is going. I don't like it when you do that.
Hey,
Forget it. It's great. See that? It
I'm
was so
live
good.
Snapchatting this right
He's
now.
live. Hey,
Yeah,
he's live
see that? It was
Snapchatting.
live. It's live. Look at all that energy. Nobody else had this energy.
All right, great.
Thank you, everybody.
I think we nailed it.
Okay, let's start off with the story. This has got a lot of themes and
I'm listening. I don't know how to
to it. I'd like to start off with David and Ike. How did this project come to you, and what was your process of working together like?
It's been 30 years in the making. We saw a Facebook photo of a guy we went to high school with, and he was holding a machine gun, and we thought, God, what if he was like Jason Bourne?
Yeah.
And so we kind of wrote it, and then years later, I had a meeting with Rawson, and Rawson's like, oh yeah, that script's really funny, we should make that. And I was like, okay. And then shortly thereafterwards, he was like, hey, do you know Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart? And I was like, I've heard of them, yes. And here we are.
By the way, I just told these guys outside. I mean, look, because of their work, again, here we are. And it's a really, really cool thing. You guys know in Hollywood, right, it's not always easy getting projects made from its inception to it coming on screen. And here we are, it's coming on screen. So it's a cool thing.
Well,
So
thank
can't
you.
give
That's
these
'cause of
right
you
enough
guys, man.
credit.
That's 'cause of
It's
you guys.
amazing. I love that they wrote the movie when I was 4, and basically they saw this. They saw the vision. They saw the vision with me as a young kid, and they said that's going to be our guy.
We saw your home videos,
Yeah.
and we knew that was
There's a-
Calvin.
Let's shelve this for 30 plus years. And
That TLC song had just come out when we wrote the movie.
For Dwayne and Kevin, what were you guys like in high school, and have you been to a reunion yet, or would you go?
Dwayne probably hasn't because he's what you call a what's it called? You know what? I
Kevin
haven't
has
been.
it because he's what you call dropped out of high school.
I've never been to a reunion. I know that they've had some at my school. I've kept in contact with some people from my high school. But my high school years were great years, man. I was a popular kid. I think it goes. You guys can tell. Like, I was a really cool guy in high school.
He was a good girl.
Yeah.
He's a good girl.
Not the best student, but I was a people person. I was a person that got along with any and everybody, and I think that's what made high school special for me. Is that there was no segregation, from the athletes to the non-athletes to the people who were all about education to the people who hookied. I was around them all. So to get embraced by everybody is just a good feeling, and it kept me out of trouble. I didn't get in fights. The funny guy doesn't fight. The funny guy stops the fight to make people laugh about wanting to fight and being stupid about wanting to fight. Then everybody walks away saying Kev is right. And they give you a lunch ticket, and it's all over. Yeah, that's what they paid me with, lunch tickets.
I was in high school. It was a little bit different. I mean, we get asked this question all day today. So he was who he was in high school, which is true, as advertised. I was a little. My freshman and sophomore year in high school, I spent a lot of time trying to get back on the right track. I was arrested multiple times by the time I was 16. So I had a little harder time trying to adjust and finding out, like a lot of us do in high school. So it was not until I really got involved in sports and athletics that gave me a focus and a reason to do the things I was doing. So, but no, I wasn't him. It just took me a little while. But then also, too, by the end of my high school years, by the time I was a senior, I was ready to go to college. I was lucky I got a full scholarship, and I was the only one in my family at that time who got to college. So I was very successful by the time I left my You know, and then what I did, I went to the University of Miami and won a national championship. A lot of things.
And then I became the biggest star in the world.
When I was 24, I became the youngest WWE.
Okay, for this movie takes the thing of what did high school do to you for the rest of your lives? And I wonder if both of you could answer that question. And also, Dwayne, you have that speech when Kevin looks at you and says, "What have you been doing the last 20 years?" And you say, 6 hours a day.
Working out every day.
How true was that to, I mean, what you look like today? It's just amazing.
Have you seen his high school picture? With the fanny pack and turtleneck? You never seen these younger pictures of DJ? There may be some truth.
In high school,
There may be some truth to that.
What was the question?
He wasn't.
It was about high school, you know.
Oh, in informative years, and yes.
Why is it that we see so often, you know, people trying to cope so many years later with what they went through?
In high school.
Was it like that for both of
I think in high school years, for everyone, by the way, they're always very defining years, and I think you're coming into your adolescence without being over intellectualized right now. But, you know, I think that's really where you start to be defined, and you start to understand yourself and who you are and accept yourself, hopefully. If not, like me, it takes a little while, right, to accept yourself and become that person. So I think for all of us in high school, and also I think what's interesting about Kevin's character is in high school being the man, and then getting out of high school, and then 10, 20 years later, you're wishing you were something else, and you're not quite happy with the things you got around you. And it oftentimes, and this kind of happens in a lot of ways in perspective, that oftentimes it's much later, something can happen in your life, an anchoring moment, a defining moment years later, and you realize, I got it pretty good. I'm blessed. I got a lot of good things.
It's weird, too, because it's kind of the reverse, what I've noticed. In high school, you know, those people that you look at that are just so amazing, man. They're amazing specimens. Everything just seems to be so right, so perfect for them. Got the world in the palm of their hands. You know, when you meet those people again as adults, I find that what's going on with our characters is a real situation. You know, they may not be as happy as they feel that they should be because they didn't get the success that they felt that they were going to get because the years after high school weren't great years. And they don't know how to cope. They don't know how to find a balance. And that guy that wasn't necessarily a popular kid or somebody who was applauded finds success in such an amazing way, and you know his life turns around, and then he tries to relive his high school years as an adult. He then starts to go and want to do all the popular stuff because he feels that he missed those things in high school. And I think the overall message that we're given in this film is, regardless of where you are and who you are, be happy with that person in that position. At the end of the day, there's happiness in everything, and that's what these two characters have to realize and find within themselves. And I'm hoping that people in real life can get that same message and understand that, because it is an important message.
And by the way, like that to speak on that was the exact sentiment and message that I remember having the first conversation with Rawson, even before we actually got together and had time to sit down face to face, the three of us too, was exactly that, about embracing who you are, and much later understanding that the blessings, really understanding the blessings you truly do have. And oftentimes we can lose focus of that because this treadmill of life we're on is so fast, it's like, and then sometimes it takes a moment where you slow down and look around.
And you have to credit our director as well. You know, Rawson did a great job
That's what I just
at making sure. You know,
that's what I.
I'm just doing it.
Nicest thing ever.
I'm just doing it a little better than what you did.
Yes, you did.
No, man, he really did a good job of making sure that we understood the path of these characters, and that we kept it in a grounded reality. You know, and I think that those lines could have easily got blurred with the directions that we chose if we chose to do things differently. So, you know, to credit DJ's point, Rawson did a really good job at keeping us on that line of telling this story and making sure that those stories are absolutely clear.
And heart.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Having heart.
Speaking of Rawson, do you want to jump in here and let us know how was this whole experience for you?
Oh, it was.
Well, I felt.
No, look, it was the best directing experience I've ever had, and it wasn't close.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Except for this. This is harder. I never get as... No, well, I think everything that Kevin and DJ have said is right on. I mean, the other thing that I'm really proud about in the movie is this. It's got this sort of great anti-bullying message, which is really important to me. I know it was important to Kevin and Dwayne, which linked into the story that Ike and David wrote, and we wanted to make sure that we did that the right way. And I think just the movie's got a lot of heart. I mean, it's really funny. It's got a lot of action. It's a good time. These guys are great together, but it's it's got two hearts in it. So yeah, I really I had the best time making this picture. I mean, we had the biggest star in the world and the funniest guy in the world and put him in the same movie. Both of those people are Kevin Hart, by the way.
He's talking about me.
Also, Dwayne Johnson is in the picture. But yeah, no, it was a real pleasure. I mean, when you start with these guys, you kind of start with pocket aces, and you just try to not screw up the hand.
You know what, one thing too that I want everybody to understand that is so important. There were no egos. Like I came into the set, knowing where DJ was in his career, what was going on with him, and I celebrated that, and I was excited to work with him, and as was he with me, vice versa. But the fact that there were no egos, and we approached those days with 110% made it that much easier, and I think it shows in the movie. You can see in the movie that there's a happiness within the characters that we're playing. I think actors wear what went on in the movie on their face in the final product, and there's nothing but smiles on these guys' faces, throughout this film. And the heart moments are heart moments because we were able to get there through the work that we put in beforehand.
And look, you guys know that, right? To what Kevin is talking about, because we're all in the business, right? So it's like when you get around and you're making these movies, and there's a lot of stars and there's a lot of egos and a lot of things you deal with and manage. And oftentimes, it's not always this easy. By the way, it's never this easy. Yeah. You get a guy who, again, ego's checked at the door, and really very competitive, but really supportive. And really, Kevin and Rawson, too, really just made it a very nice, easy, comfortable environment where you just go and play and have fun.
Who were some actors you guys worked with that were difficult in your past
You can
movies?
imagine. Everyone you guys know in this room, we all know them.
Dwayne and
Yes.
Kevin, were you ever bullied in school? And what is your personal advice to kids who are bullied?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, listen, I believe in the whole anti-bullying thing. I mean, as a kid, I think you need a little bit of drama. I don't like that people are trying to make these kids' life perfect. You need to go through something, okay? You need to build character. And, within situations that make you uncomfortable, come life lessons. I got 2 kids myself. I'm hoping my son gets into some stuff at a young age so he can come and talk to me about it. And I go, hey, man, figure it out. Like you're going to have to figure it out when you're on your own. You don't want the kid that's 18 and that gets approached with his first fight. And he's like, Dad, oh, God, Dad.
She hit me so hard.
She hit me in the back of the head, Dad, and that's when everything fell apart. Like, I don't want to shelter my kids. And I think within society today, it's a big, we're putting up this big glass, and we're like, don't, and it's going to happen. You can't stop these things from happening. So you can lessen it and you can communicate, but you're not going to stop it overall. Just make sure that your people around you understand their self-worth and their value. And with that being said,
Yeah, I was. I was bullied, not in high school, but I was bullied back. I was bullied in junior high school, and there's 2 big incidents that happened where I thought I was fighting one kid, and I got jumped by a gang.
No. No. Wait a second.
I'm going to tell you something.
Why does this reporter have so much money?
This is the richest reporter on the planet.
Good to see you, Tyler.
All right, brother.
Man. That's the first thing you say. Looks like he has so much money. Very good guy, by the way.
He was great in Gone Girl.
Very good.
Is he a turtle? What is he?
Oh yes.
Leonardo DiCaprio's boy.
Anyway, yes, I was bullied, and then I had a little incident, but then what I did, I realized the best thing what Kevin was saying is I stood up for myself, and I hit that kid so hard after he was bullying me all summer, and then I ran so fast. But it was a good life lesson for me, by the way. And then the lesson was I ran all the way home. This is a true story. I ran all the way home. I was 11 years old. He was in high school. I jacked him in his face, ran all the way home, ran out of my shoes, ran home. And I came in. My mom was like, "What's going on?" Because I was at summer camp. And she goes, "Where's your shoes?" I was like, "Oh, I ran. I left them." She's like, "You ran?" So it wasn't even about the shoes. And here's a good point to your being, teaching the lesson. She goes, "But you ran." And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Come with me." Maybe get in the car, drove me back to summer camp, made me go find him, and made me basically work it out with him. But the moral of her story was, and the lesson was, you're going to get in this situation, like Kevin was saying, but don't you ever run from anybody. And yeah, she's like, stand up for yourself and communicate.
My dad gave me the same. I saw my dad lose a fight where he was trying to show me what to do. This is no lie. My dad said, "Listen, let me tell you something. You don't let nobody push you around." Like, he got into it with this guy, and me and my brother were in the car. He said, "You handle yourself at all times. You be a man." And I remember my dad getting out this car. This guy hit my dad with two of the hardest punches I've ever seen in my life. It was so fast. Pap, pap. And he said something like, "I didn't want to do this in front of your kids." And it's like, me and my brother were just in the car. We just looking at it, and my dad just got in the car and closed the door. He started driving. It was just quiet. We were like, I guess he's not gonna say nothing about it, but we just gotta let this go. Let's just act like he won in a couple days. So the lesson I learned there was duck. I was like, get out the way if it's coming. But it was definitely a lesson that he tried to give that went backwards. I swear to God, it's a true story.
So Kevin introduces me to his dad on set for the first time. Now, I feel like I know his dad because I love Kevin's bits, right? So I have all his comedy downloaded, right? So he has a lot of bits about his dad. So I can't wait to meet his dad, right? Oh, you're going to learn today. Like, that's his dad. So he introduced me to his dad. "Hey, Dad, the DJ. Hey, how you doing, brother? It's good to meet you." He's like, "Hey, man, good to meet you, too. All right. Yeah, rock, yeah. Beat, I swear to God." He goes, "Yeah." And he turns to Kevin. He's like, "Yeah, you might have to hit this with a stick if you ever try to." Right? And seriously, right? Yeah, hit this stick.
He goes right to violence. My dad's like, "Yeah, you can't fight him. You got to get a stick for him. You got to get a stick."
No,
what are you talking about, Dad? There's no reason.
Family.
Got to go find a stick outside.
Yeah.
His whole mind was set on hitting DJ with a stick.
And
something
wasn't
happened.
Like, hit him with a stick and he was laughing.
He was still serious.
Stick.
Like the look that I have to give, because when you have a parent like that, you constantly have to explain his behavior. So DJ's looking at me, and I'm just like, he just let it go. He's like, "No, it's fine." DJ's like, "It's cool, it's fine, it's all right." He got away from my dad so fast. He's like, "All right, Kev, I'll see you when we shoot, right, Rawson? We got like 20, right? We got to go, we got to shoot."
Making quite a career out of slaying big guys. Mm-hmm. It's like, now we hear why, maybe. You see yourself as like the ultimate dragon slayer. True? False? And Dwight, your experience with that?
Dragon slayer. It's the first. I can say it's the first time that I've ever heard that.
He loves that.
What?
That's it.
What I think I am right now is a person who has put myself in great positions to win. And the only way you do that is surround yourself with people who have the same attitude and mentality. So in this case, with DJ being a big guy that I've been around, I can say that I've learned a lot from this big guy. I can say I came in as a student because as a fellow entertainer, seeing what he's accomplished and what he's done, I want some of that. I want some of that knowledge. I want to put some of that in my repertoire and hopefully use it at some point in time in my career. And I think the most humbling thing that I can say that I've ever seen was a guy that you come in and you're in awe of, go, "Man, I'm in awe of you, man, what you're doing." And the fact that we were aware of each other's work and what we were doing, it shook me up because I was like, this is how it should always be. So in the past, when I've been that that slayer that you're referring to has been to people who don't have the same level of love, which is when you get the joke. That's my joke. What is it called when you attack people with the jokes in a funny way, but you do it in a way where they know you're not playing?
Karate,
No, it's called sarcasm. But in this case, I never had to do that, man. I honestly was taken back by the person that this guy is, and I love him for it.
I was impressed. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Look, I all jokes aside, right? I was impressed with Kevin, and I told him this. I was following him on social media before we met, before this movie ever came about, and we sat down. We had a meeting, and when we had our very first meeting, I told Kevin, I said, I'm really impressed with something about you. The success is one thing, but there is still a sense. I said, number one, you make people feel good, and that's a cool thing, right? It's just a cool thing to make people feel good and laugh, but then also, too, you always make it about the hard work. And that's so important because oftentimes, you guys know this, like sometimes, with the glitz and the glamour, it's Hollywood, it's the thing, it's the show, it's the showmanship and showbiz and that whole thing. It's easy to forget. And Kevin is always leading by example through his hard work. And that was something that I really appreciated too. And to his point, I'll never forget this. And for a star at this level, because he's a massive star, he's a global star. He's a global, and he'll tell you, right? Comedic rock star. He is. Deal. He's a massive star.
Really big deal.
And oftentimes, when you get around other stars, there's a level, and again, you guys know him. We're all in the business together. Where it's not as easy and as free. It's very sizing up and Well, I saw Hollywood Reporter said you were doing the thing. Yeah, you did the thing where you're going to work with that director. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, they tried to call me for the role, but like that kind of thing, right? But I met Kevin, and Kevin was like, dude, I want to go global. Take me with you. Literally said, they take me with you. Let's work together. Let's do this. And I'm here. Let's go here together. I was like, great. Let's go here together. So, all jokes aside, I can't say enough great things about the guy.
What do you think of Dave sitting next to Kevin?
I got to tell you something about Dave. I like Dave.
I like that Dave is so outspoken. I think that's the best thing about Dave. Dave can't stop talking.
This is my moment.
Yes, Dave.
So, can you tell us, was it challenging to balance out so many themes of this film? There's comedy, there's action, there's a message there. So, was that a challenge to balance that out in the writing?
It's always, balancing an entire story is always a challenge. But Ike and I grew up with action comedies and
Beverly Hills Cop and 48 Hours and all those great movies.
Yeah. So it's just what we want to write, and writing a screenplay is really hard, and we just tried to balance it, in everything we do. And I will say that when we met with Rawson, the one thing I thought that was important to keep, when you go through the whole process of getting the film made, was the mystery of whether or not DJ's character was good or bad guy. And I think Rawson did a great job of keeping that tension going for as long as possible. That makes the movie exciting because you're on both sides of the fence, and that was a big thing for me.
That was a big challenge. Yeah, you should speak about that because that was the thing. Because he was like, "Listen, I really want to try and toe the line here and try and make people believe like you could be bad in this movie. You could be the Black Badger."
Yeah, that was a really important part, and it was in Ike and David's script, and something that it just seemed really key to me, that if we could have look, the movie's a lot of fun, it's got a great balance of action and comedy, it's got the heart, like we talked about, but for me, if we could just add a little bit of a mystery, just a little bit of a puzzle, where you weren't quite sure if Dwayne was a good guy or a bad guy, I thought it would just have the audience leaning in just a little bit. If you just have the small, we have about as much mystery as like a Marmaduke cartoon, but if it's just enough, right? Just enough to kind of keep that worm of, wonder working in your mind. I thought it would make the movie better. And so we said, let's go for it. And we worked really hard to make sure that the balance was right. Because you had to like Bob, you had to like Dwayne. The whole way through, and just slowly kind of reveal that maybe he's not all that he's saying. And a big part of that, of course, is in the screenplay that Ike and David wrote. but also in kind of the perspective we have. We see this movie only through Kevin's character's eyes, only through Calvin's eyes. And Bob only exists, with the exception of one small scene in the picture, Bob only exists through Kevin's eyes. And Kevin is the proxy for the audience. And if he's not sure if he can trust Dwayne's character, then hopefully we, the audience, won't trust Dwayne or will be unsure. And I think that part really pays off in the film.
Shamika from Hello Beautiful. Hello, guys.
Hey,
Congrats.
Shamika.
Hey, what's up? This question is for both of you guys. You guys had such a chemistry, and it's shown brightly on screen. Can you talk about like your favorite scene to shoot and why?
That's a good question.
My favorite scene was in Dr. Dan's office where we play the Stargaze slap game.
Slap game.
And if you can't look away, you can and you slap.
Soul gazing.
It was-
Soul
it-
gazing.
you have
I could
no
not
idea.
stop laughing.
I
think you saw that in the outtakes, by the way. Oh my!
Did they
God.
show? That's right. We showed the outtakes,
Yes.
but the outtakes didn't do it justice because the outtakes could have went for so long. I couldn't keep it together. Like I couldn't.
We couldn't.
You know, I couldn't. He only was breaking because I was breaking.
But
and
the interesting part is like that was day one.
that was day one. That was the first day. That was our
And
first
I'm
day of
holding
shooting.
him, and that one to you in my pampers. That was day one.
The first day of shooting, but DJ, like I had to smack him. You know, so we're talking before. So I was like, yeah, you guys look at each other and, let's just make it fun. Maybe if there's a little tap on the face or whatever, right? So the first one, I'm getting mad. I'm getting really mad at him. I'm like, stop it. Stop it. He's like, it's okay. So he's doing like this weird voice. He's like, it's all right. Let's just shh. And I smack him. But like when I smacked him, it sounded so much worse than what it was. So like in my mind, I was like, oh. And I was like I immediately clutched up and we started laughing. But then I just couldn't keep a straight face because we're literally smacking each other and we're saying the most ridiculous stuff, man. And I think that scene, we were hot. The office was hot. But it was funny. Like I would say that, and you when you come out in the pajamas made me really laugh.
Oh yeah,
that made me laugh that day when he's just being so regular. Like, yeah, they fit, they're fine.
Yeah,
great. And I'm like, all right.
I put them on, by the way, and I had to put them on. And then they had to actually sew the seams when I put them on because around me. I came out to. I said, "You sure this is gonna look okay?" He's like, "Yeah, it looks great." And he's just looking like down here, and then
It's magnetic.
Great.
It's magnetic.
Very, very funny.
But that's a fun. By the way, with your wife, your girlfriend, your husband, whatever it is, play that game. It's soul gazing. You can't look away, and you can't talk. And anyone that looks away, boom. Yeah. Boom. Smelling you. You will love it.
Smack their face.
Gets things hot.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time.
No, wait.
Oh,
what?
hold on
No,
a second.
These things don't go on forever.
Where are they going to go to the Turtles?
No.
But
One more. He's been waiting patiently.
This
He's
man
been
has a
waiting.
microphone.
Yeah, he's been waiting.
Projects that are upcoming that you might be excited about, in particular your documentary about youth in prison. What kind of message you're trying to hope gets
Two
out
things.
there.
We partnered up with HBO and Sheila Nevins and my production company, $7 Productions, growing nicely. Very excited about that. We have a documentary called Between a Rock and a Hard Place about showcasing. There's a very special boot camp prison down in Florida that really has a really high successful rate, and it comes out probably in and around film festival time. We'll start seeing it then. Kevin, of course. No, possibly then. We're still trying to decide and meeting with Sheila to figure out either September or October or later on in 2017, early first quarter. I know Kevin has housewives.
Real
Housewives.
Real husbands.
Real.
He doesn't support me. He doesn't support me.
I literally was thinking about Jumanji, and then I'm like, wait, but he's got the other little thing, but Jumanji.
Husbands, season 5 just wrapped that. Guys, we'll be here all day if I get to run down this list. We're going to keep the train rolling with a reboot of Jumanji. So excited to be working with this guy again.
Do you guys need a writer for that?
Yeah. Is that an open assignment?
I wish I
don't
knew
know,
the
guys.
answers to those questions.
We'll have our agents get into it.
Yeah,
Our time
we'll
is
talk
up.
afterwards.
That's the bad thing is our time is up, so we can't dig into that. But you guys are always amazing. Always good seeing y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.